Hi everyone. So now let us have our ratio for the automation quiz, which is the last topic for your prelim examination. So to start, as you can see, I used the quiz statistics of Canvas so that at least we could see the breakdown for each item. So for question number one, which automated system design contains all the components for each step in the laboratory process that are interconnected by a track system? Now, looking at the percentage, some of you are confused between total laboratory automation and the modular integrated system. Now, if you try to look back on the question, you already have certain clues which would give you na yung correct answer is total laboratory automation. From ito palang kids, from the word all the components for each step sa lab, and another clue here is the track system. Because basically, in the modular integrated system, hindi naman po lahat ng components sa step sa lab process, di ba? And other than that, wala din po siyang track system. All the more, hindi lahat ng choices, lalo na kasi meron tayong standalone dito. So that is why the correct answer should be total laboratory automation. So careful with that. Next, incubation and reaction time are under what step in the automated analysis? So at least everyone got the correct score for this one. So that is under chemical reaction phase. How about actually in the other than the incubation and reaction time, diba dun din po yung mixing and separation. So for specimen loading and aspiration, it focuses more on the carousel or the rack system, which handles your samples na papasok dun sa inyong machine for processing. And it even also focuses on the aspiration flow. Diba? It even mentioned what uh, what uh, certain yung gagamitin for its cleaning sa probe mo. And then for signal processing and data handling, so dun po na-mention in yung calibration, yung mga standards, and the advantages of calibrating your automated instrument. And for the measurement phase, so of course, very obvious, this is talking about your analytical techniques. Next, what classification of automated analyzer is the automatic clinical analyzer by Siemens? So, as you can see, there are some who answered all of the choices or even your continuous flow. If we were not talking about a specific name sa machine, then possible all of the choices. Kasi naman po talaga, every brand of your machines could differ in terms of the principle or classification, its classification. But since we are talking about the automatic clinical analyzer, then our answer should be your discrete analyzer. We all know what continuous flow is, diba? From the name in itself, meaning to say there is only one tubing kung saan dadaan po lahat from your reagent to your sample, kaya siya continuous flow. Whereas for centrifugal, diba, it uses the force generated by centrifugation na in order for your liquid reagents and your sample na uh, para siya ma-measure, kumbaga, it will be aspirated through centrifugation. Next, piston-driven pumps in pressurized reagent bottles are under what step in the automated analysis? So your answer should be this one, your reagent systems and delivery. For specimen delivery, hindi po siya yung mga piston-driven pumps and pressurized reagent bottles. Yung specimen delivery, although pwede mo ma-confuse sa iyaha, but take note, specimen, yung sample po mismo yung it is pertaining to the sample. So, examples of your specimen delivery is yung pneumatic tube system, yung courier service, yung electric truck vehicles, and yung mga mobile robots. Now, if you try to go back in the video lecture, there were certain videos, there were videos presented for you to uh, better appreciate these specimen delivery systems. We already discussed specimen loading and aspiration and also measurement rates. Other than piston-driven pumps and pressurized reagent bottles, di ba kasali na din po yung syringes? I think it was also mentioned there. Next, a classification of the automated analyzer in which all samples are loaded at the same time and a single test is conducted of each sample. So answer there is this one, your batch analyzer. Before I will explain the other classifications, let's proceed first with the next since it is related. Under pa rin siya sa classification of your automated analyzer. So the question goes like this. The classification of the automated analyzer in which more than one test is analyzed concurrently on a given clinical system. So for this one, the correct answer rather is your parallel. Now, we already mentioned what is batch. So what is random access and sequential? Actually, between these two, andun na po yung keywords nyo. From the word random, dun po sa random access, meaning there is no proper way of uh, manner of processing the test, as in it is being done randomly or in any sequence. Whereas for the sequential, from the word sequence, so the tests and samples are being run in order at which it was placed or encoded in your machine. Okay, so sana gets po. Next, which of the following is the best method to reduce carryover in most automated analyzers? Now, this is quite tricky, but since we are pertaining to the best method, then our best answer for that would be the sample probe washing. Disposable tube or cuvette can help since at least there is no reusing of the containers for placing your samples. Then again, still again, ang best pa rin natin po is the sample probe washing since yun po talaga yung pinaka-prone and siya yung kumbaga, pinakamaselan. Since your sample probe is the one who will be getting the reagent and your sample, kumbaga siya yung may pinakamalaking responsibility for that. So that is why your best answer is your sample probe washing. Daily maintenance and calibration is not directly dun po sa pag-reduce ng carryover, even with the plastic reagent containers. So again, answer is your sample probe washing. Next, which of the following is incorrect regarding the advantages of automation? Incorrect. So meaning, asan po dito yung false? So, syempre ito. Diba, may 2%, 1%, and 2% na nag-answer sa other items. So let us go over with each. Now, it eliminates the potential error of manual analysis. Yes, diba, kaya naman po siya tinatawag na automation since we are trying to lessen, diba, or the elimination of potential manual analysis dun po mismo sa measurement of things. Diba, na minimize natin yung variation in terms of the processing mismo ng inyong mga samples. It minimizes the ito na po yung sinasabi ko na it also minimizes the variation of your results. Diba? Kasi nga, everything is automated, everything is, ang pag-better na basta kay automation, 'di ba tanan-tanan is nakaset na. Unlike if we do it manually, so there could be a plus minus pa ng mga 50% na difference in each phase. So kaya it minimizes the variation. It helps increase the number of tests performed by one person. Uy, bakit may nagsagot pa nito? Because it is very obvious na that is an advantage of your automation. Na, di ba? It helps increase number of tests being done. Kasi if tayo-tayo lang and we are manually doing tests, it would really take time. Iilan lang din po yung mapoprocess natin at a certain hours. Kung isipin natin, siguro, if we do it manually, ang isang test siguro at most per hour, nasa 10 to 20 lang tayo. Unlike if it is automated, then it would just take about 50 or 80 samples, hindi nga 80, actually pwede 100 samples per hour. So our correct answer here is it needs larger volume of sample and gives more accurate test result. So I guess tricky lang din na part kasi tama yung gives more accurate test result. What makes this incorrect is that it needs larger volume. Actually, it no longer needs large volume unlike when we do it manually. When your machines are automated, fully automated, grabe ka-small ng sample na need nyo, it is only in microliters. Compared to when we do it manually, nandun tayo sa ml. Usually, that is around 10 ml, 5 ml. Unlike automated machines na nasa 25 microliters, so ganun po yung difference in terms of volume. Next, which of the following help eliminates the need to both wait for the sample to clot and to aliquot the sample? So, dito, iba-iba. Marami-rami din po yung sumagot ng use of robotics, even with the barcode labeled and the use of the light blue top. But our correct answer here is the use of PSP. This PSP, your plasma separator tube. What is the clue here in your question? To sample to clot and to so ito po yung pinaka-clue. Since we are talking about clotting of your sample, basically, X na itong use of robotics. Kasi, so far as to what we have discussed, I think I never mentioned that there are machines or robotics related na that helps in enhancing your sample plot. Although in aliquoting pwede. But since in the question you're asked about eliminating also the sample plotting, so best answer would be your plasma saturator tube. Siyempre, hindi po yung light blue tube. Because light blue tube, di ba, balikan po yung mga anticoagulant. That is an anticoagulant, meaning to say, your blood sample will not clot. Whereas in your barcode labeled tubes, all the more, hindi po ito yung sagot. Kasi with barcode labeled tubes, it only helps eliminating incorrect patient identifications. Not exactly incorrect, but it actually helps na sa pag standardize in terms of labeling the name of your patients and automatically identifying what test needs to be done in that certain sample under the name of that certain patient. So our answer here is again the use of your plasma separator tube. If you could still recall, between your plasma separator tube is actually a gold top, and it only takes about how many minutes for it to clot. Actually, at most, nagani siguro 5 minutes. Unlike hindi gold. Pwede gold, pwede orange. Mas hasten yung orange. Orange yung 5 minutes. Gold yung about siguro mga 10 minutes. Unlike kay red, it will take you about 20 minutes. So it really helps in eliminating the need or reducing the need for your sample to float. Siya na yung best answer. Next, which of the following is an example of your dry reagent? O dito, konti lang yung sumagot ng ating correct answer, which is all of the choices. Why? Remember that your lyophilized reagent is a freeze-dried powder. Since we're talking about dried powder, so it is of course an example of a dry reagent. All the more with your tablet form in which it needs reconstitution, so meaning to say your tablet is a dry reagent which needs to be poured with water in order to para matunaw and then maging in liquid form na. Dry chemistry is also an example of your dry reagent in which this is an example of your thin film analysis. And under your dry chem slide is actually your lipstick. Diba? That is actually one example of your dry chemistry slide, the use of your reagent pads. And since diba nakapad na siya, then literal na dry na reagent system. So, siguro medyo na-confuse siguro with the dipstick kasi diba if you try to look at the number of students that answered 1, 2, and 3, there are also about 148. So ayun, go over your handout or the video lecture. So doon niyo po makikita na under pa rin po si dipstick with your dry reagent. Di ba? Yan, recall yung urinary dipstick mo na hindi naman po siya in liquid pads kasi next. So now we go, there are actually 5 items for the true or false, modified true or false. So the first one, statement 1, a continuous flow analyzer does not allow test selection. This is actually true. And for statement 2, reagents would consistently flow through the channel and samples will be sequentially analyzed. This is also true. That is why our correct answer is that both statements are true. Diba? Since continuous flow kasi siya, so there is no such thing as test selection since every time, kaya nga hindi best na type of analyzer si continuous flow, si kalas ang reagent. Even if, so for example, kunwari yung reagents na meron are yung test na andun kayo is glucose and lipid profile and then you only wanted to test for the glucose, still, kukuha pa rin kuha pa rin siya ng or even with, kuha pa rin siya ng reagent dun sa lipid profile, even if it is not gonna be used. So, ganun po yung continuous flow. And then, so eto, walang problema with statement 2, andito po yung flow nyo, na consistently flow through your channel. And that is what continuous flow analyzer is. So, both statements are true. Next. Statement 1, it was in the year 1976 when thin film analysis technology was first produced. Statement 2, dry chemistry and slide is an example of a thin film analysis. Still, answer here is both statements are true. Try going back to the history of automation in which correct naman po yung ating year here when your thin film analysis technology was produced. And I think I mentioned this one. I'm not sure if naka-place dun sa slide, but I think I mentioned this one in the video lecture. That one example of your thin film analysis is your dry chemistry slide. So both statements are true. At least majority of you answered it correctly. Ito po. So this is an example. Ito po yung picture na nilagay ko po dun sa video lecture. So this is an example of your dry chemistry slide. Diba? Dry reagent. All you need to do is just to place your sample and processing will be done. Next, statement 1, provide reagents in a dried tablet form and reconstitute them when the test is to be run is an example of a technique for preservation of reagents. Statement 2, the removal of protein and other interference is under specimen preparation and identification. Statement 1 is actually true. Statement 1 is true. Statement 2 is actually false. So that is why our answer should be this one. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Now, uh, true na yung dried tablet form nyo is actually a form of reagent preservation. Kasi, I think I explained this one kasi kung naka-liquid form kasi siya na agad-agad, ah, yung madali siya mag-expire and masira. So, it would be best na to reconstitute yung ganon yung style ng ating reagent to uh, increase its storage life. While for statement 2, it is false since the removal of your protein is not under your specimen preparation and identification. It is actually during your specimen processing. Remember your dialysis, your filtration, and your column chromatography in which dun po siya under sa specimen processing in which these are ways or processes to remove your protein. The answer is statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. Next, statement 1, a closed system analyzer is flexible and adapts readily to new methods and analytes. Statement 2, liquid reagents for open systems are less expensive than the components required for closed systems. Answer should be statement 1 is false, statement 2 is true. Remember your open and closed system. Diba when we say it is an open system, meaning to say puwede tayo bumili sa other manufacturers, even the reagent puwede na tayo ang gagawa or dun din po tayo sa iba. So kaya siya open system, puwede siya pinagtagpi-tagpi kumbaga na mga different components from different manufacturers. Unlike your closed system na kung dito lang po siya, kumbaga kung dito tayo bumili na certain na brand, everything from the computer to the analyzer to the reagent, dapat lahat-lahat dun lang din po talaga sa brand na yun. So that is why statement 1 is false. Since your closed system analyzer, hindi po siya flexible and it does not adapt readily to new methods and analytes. Yung flexible and adapts readily to new methods and analytes, that is in your open system analyzer. No problem with statement 2. Liquid reagents for the open system are less expensive than the components required for closed systems. So this is true since, again, as I have mentioned, pwede kasi in your open system na we can come up with our own, diba, make our own reagent for it or look for somewhere cheaper. So that is why it could be less expensive. Next, for our last item, statement 1, the major drawback of a discrete analyzer is that it has significant carryover problem. Statement 2, discrete analyzers offer random access and is the most versatile type of analyzer. Sorry for that. So our answer is statement 1 is false, statement 2 is true. Bakit? Sino po yung may major drawback na analyzer in which it has significant carryover problems? It is not actually your discrete, that is your continuous flow. So, di ba, this carryover problems is actually already eliminated when we use your discrete analyzer. So that is why statement 2 is true since discrete analyzers are really the most versatile type of analyzers and the most preferred type of analyzers. Uh, there are also a lot of you who answered both statement are false. Siguro medyo na-confuse kayo with the, I don't know if because dito po na term offer random access. If you try to go back to the video lecture, this is actually mentioned. Or maybe you were confused with the most versatile type na term. Actually, if you try to compare the three, ito naman po talaga yung pinakamaganda. So that ends our ratio. Good luck everyone for your exam and study well, kids. Thank you.